Your mouth, your tongue can build someone up or can bring someone down. And why I say this is because I remember that at a young age, I had an accident when I was 3 years old, and I got run over I got dragged with a van. There was a lot of complications. Basically, I was going to be crippled for life, and my bone, instead of growing straight forward, it was going to grow sideways. And they were going to put like some sticks here, so I was going to be walking like this. And my parents, they were sending the papers for Shriners Crippled Hospital. And I remember how God went into my room, and he just passed his hand, and my leg was dead, and the next day there was like red little dots. That meant that the meat was beginning to grow. I'm just paraphrasing and saying everything fast because I know that you might have questions, and it's just a lot. I wish I could be here the whole weekend, but I can't. And what happened was that I wasn't an athletic guy. I wasn't like, oh yeah, I want Sam right away. Like, he's good at kickball. He's good at softball. I wasn't good at all of these things. So guess what? So whenever there was the 2 team captains, they would choose some girls over me. Oh, that girl's good. Yeah, let's get Cynthia. She kicks hard. So whenever it was my turn to kick the ball or to play softball or something, other people will come up closer. And I was like, that sucks. So my confidence was to the floor, like, don't laugh, people. I'm being healed by that right now. No, I was kidding. But that was something that really bothered me. My self-esteem was like to the lowest. I remember in the 4th grade, this one guy, my dad had just bought me some Vans. Yeah, Vans are old. They're old school. Like, I used to wear those in the 4th grade. And I'm like, the guy who spoke up here, we're like at that age. I can relate to him. What's his name, Benny? Manny, yeah. We're like the same age range. And I remember that in the 4th grade, my dad bought me those Vans, and they're checkered, and then I had like some brand new Levi's and a shirt. And this guy comes up to me, he's like, wow, he's like, you finally look like a boy. You're finally dressed like a boy. And I was like, what is that all about, I kind of dismissed it, but they would always say comments like, I see through, or just stuff like that, And I'm sure that there's probably youth here that do say stuff like that, but maybe you didn't know, so God forbids you now, but after today, there's conviction on your life. You will be condoned, But it's just the peer labeling, where you guys begin to label people. It's like you prophesying over that person. Like, he's such a fag, he's such a queer, look at him. Act like a man. Man up. You hear a lot of parents say that to kids. No llores. Los hombres no lloran. Really? What about at the altar? What about when the Holy Spirit's working in your life? That doesn't count? So, peer labeling, you have to be very careful about that. Very careful, because that kid's already going through insecurities. Low self-esteem. Guys don't pay attention to them, only the girls. That's why many times you see a lot of gays with a lot of girlfriends. And also because the girls are okay with that, and also because they know that the girl's not probably going to cheat on her boyfriend. Because you know how girls end up cheating on their boyfriends with another friend? I know it doesn't happen here with ConneXion, but other churches, I'm talking about other churches, Fear of inability to relate to the opposite sex goes back to the labeling. If you have been labeled, you're not going to feel comfortable and confident to want to hang around with other guys. Especially if wrestling comes about, that's kind of rough. We're like, whoa, I'm going to make an excuse to go somewhere else and do something else. See if the hermanas need any help with talento or something, and other guys are playing softball or football stuff, and it just kind of makes it rough. Okay. Gender identity. When a child is born into the family, roles can become confused if too much emphasis is placed on that child to fulfill either the mother or the father's emotional needs. And here's an example. A son may develop a strong sense of sympathy and caretaking for his mother if she leans on him emotionally by relaying her marriage problems and telling him her troubles. This is huge. Huge. There's a lot of fathers that are not emotionally there for their wives or the mother, And the mom begins to relay a lot of this on the son. Moms might not be educated, might not know that this can harm their son or daughter, because there's resentment, bitterness, isolation. All of these things begin to build up in this kid's life towards the dad or towards the mom, vice versa. It's very important for the mom not to do this to the child. If you have a mom and you have a dad and you have a younger sister or younger brother and you see this activity, educate your mom on this and let them know that, you know what, mom, what you're doing is not helpful for him. His brain is not developed all the way so he can know exactly how to deal with this situation. So they will internalize this as something personal for them, something that they need to do to get their mom out of where she's at right now. Next. This is the role of the husband, the father. And I got this from Ephesians chapter 25 through 28. This is what God appoints as a husband. A husband needs to be nurturing. A husband needs to be emotionally available, caring and tender. The leader of the home is the one who does the sacrifices. And this is a good example. He is to love his wife as much as Christ loves his church. The kind of love is completely selfless and unconditional. Unconditional is like with no regards, like just all the way. We say many times that the fathers will not connect with their son. You might connect with them in a material way. Oh, my son knows I love him. I bought him the latest gadget. I got him an iPad, iPhone, whatever. He has it. He knows I love him. Does he really? Because he has a different perspective. Homosexuals will go based on what they perceive, not what they see. If they perceive, and they will pick up right away if you're being a hypocrite or you're being real in their lives. If someone wants to come in right now, two lesbians or two gays were to come in, and they were obvious, would you go up to them and say, hi, welcome, God bless you? Or would you, maybe would you pull I know you guys don't have kids. I forgot. Wait, Rigo and his wife? I forgot. Reina. R&R? Okay. So, if they were to have their kids and their kids are here, and all of a sudden, two lesbians come and one of them said, oh my God, look how cute. And all of a sudden, Reina pulls her kid, no, it's kind of rude, because she might think that se le va a pegar a él, or something like that. When you're not educated, you will do stuff like that. Why do I say this? Is because it's happened. I've taken some of my gay friends to church, and not to the church that I'm going to now, but another church where I was at, where I gave my life back to the Lord. There was people there that were old school, and when they came in, they accepted God. Their mannerism was kind of out there, their hands and flaunting and stuff like that. They felt the rejection, and they never went back to church again. Now, I did my part. I took them to church. They accepted God, but they didn't go back. They're like, we felt the hypocrisy. We felt how they saw us, how they judged us. So, I'm sorry if I'm looking at you. It's not because I'm looking at you. Right here. It's because you're just right here. So. No, it was a girl right here in the front. I don't want you to think I'm putting conviction on your life, Okay, the wife, the mother, withdraw. This is also from Ephesians 5:22 and Genesis 3:16 that God appoints wives to be supportive, affirming of her husband's masculinity, reflecting a positive image of her husband's masculinity to her children, understanding of her husband's role. Many times the kids pick up on stuff that mothers say, act like a man, stop doing that. To the father, the kids pick up on these things. They're like sponges. They begin to absorb, and they will, guess what? Imitate. They will mirror. They will mirror what they see. And they will begin to see the father. My dad's not that man enough. He never plays sports. My mom's always breaking him down, because that's what a lot of women do. They break down their husbands to the point that they're no longer their husbands. They become their sons. Let's go to the next one. The effects of a distorted role. The effects of distorted roles between husband and wives clearly leads to confusion, frustration, and dysfunction between the couple, not to mention the child that they bring into the world. And here's an example of an unhealthy relationship. If a husband is not emotionally available to his wife, she may subconsciously turn to the next most significant male in her life to receive the affirmation for which she longs. When that person is her son, she places on him a burden he has not meant to bear. It is never the job of a child to meet his parents' needs. Sadly, this often happens in the lives of those who eventually struggle with homosexuality. Many times, huge, I want to say maybe like 75%, many times is because this happens. The mom begins to bring all of these things. She begins to hold on to the son. The son, he's not mentally ready for this. He doesn't know how to deal with any of these things, but guess what? He internalizes and he says, you know what? It is my job. My mom wants me to help her through this, and it is my job as a man of the family. It's not. Understanding female homosexuality. How many of us think that is just one type of lesbian? 2? Anywhere else? How many types of lesbians do you guys think there is? Oh, it's in the Nazi cheaters. You guys are a bunch of Christians, right? Don't look at your notes. Yeah, there's 4, and we're going to go through those right now. Lesbianism is a complex condition. There are often many common roots, although each woman's experience is unique. Women's sexuality can be fluid, and there's different variations of lesbianism. So the first one is, am I going too fast or is it okay? You okay? Okay. You guys know it all, so I can quiz you guys after? All right. Hugo knows it all. All right, cool. So the first one is the same-sex experimentation is women who have become involved superficially in same-sex experience but have not embraced homosexual as an identity. You see this a lot in universities and in college. Many times this happens a lot. Emotional enmeshment is women who would never act out sexually but have relied on another woman to gain an identity and a sense of well-being. This goes back to the example that I did where, oh, she's my best friend. And sometimes you see girls walking down the street like holding hands, but they're not lesbians, but they're just like so emotionally attached that one of them becomes their oxygen tank and the other one can't function without that person. That's what emotional enmeshment means. Generation next is younger women who think that bisexuality is cool or in vogue. You see this a lot in schools. How many of us have friends that claim to be bisexual? I think half of the people here. Yeah. And that's the new thing. That's the cool thing, you know. Be bisexual, you know, get the both worlds. Like I remember, I don't know if you guys ever saw the $1 Million Listing. I was in real estate before, but I used to watch it. The $1 Million Listing was where 2 of them were straight and the other one was gay. It was out and proud. And now, all of a sudden, this series, that guy, Josh, who's Jewish, all of a sudden is now gay. You know, and I just noticed that they're just emphasizing it now. They're bringing it now more all the time. You see it in the novelas now a lot too. I don't watch any, but I see the commercials. So I don't have time to watch like stuff like that. And also the classic lesbianism is women who strive to fulfill emotional needs and sexual desires solely through other women. They embrace a lesbian identity. And when you see this, there's the different types. You see the butch type, the trucker-like looking type girls, and you also see what is called the lesbian. That's the lesbian type, the lipstick lesbian. That's the type that you see, like she'll be like very feminine, and you also see like the butch one. Okay, let's go to the next one, please. Sexual abuse in lesbians. Sexual abuse in particular can lead to guilt, shame, anxiety, lowered self-esteem, depression, vulnerability to drug and alcohol abuse, inability to judge trustworthiness of others, confusion between caregiving, confusion about sexual identity, sexual norms, inability to differentiate sex from love, may also result in rejection of female identity, shunning of relationships with men, and turning exclusively to other women for nurture, affection, and love. If you see at the end where it says exclusively to other women for nurture, affection, and love